We got Bayern Munich playing their first league game of the year, coming back. They're taking on Frankfurt, a game of two teams near the top of the table. This is a Bayern team that does not have a lot of breathing room at the top of the table. It's Saturday, 12:30 p.m. We talked about it. Bundesliga, usually going to see a lot of goals. Tell me which way you're leaning here.
Yeah, Bayern drawing their two most recent matches is pretty bizarre, and that's something
Yeah.
like you kind of have to think of in terms of trends. Like, is Bayern really going to draw a third match in a row? And for me, that's just not something I'm going to be looking at. They faced earlier this year, it was a 6-1 beatdown. It was the opening match of the season, so again, we can't really take too much into account there. But that was on the road. Now Bayern is back home in this one. Again, you mentioned it; it's very close at the top of the table. Bayern is going to come out hot here. This is where I love Bayern first half money line. It's only at
Mm.
minus 150. I think that's something that I've really loved. So again, they want to set the tempo early. I think they're going to come out the gates hot. Again, you could look at some intervals where they score in the first 15 minutes, the first 30
Mm.
minutes, or in that time span. There's always plus money type of bets that you could look at. That's something I kind of stay away from. But again, just options for people. And then Bayern first half, and then over 2.5 in totals at plus 115. And then if you want to push it a little bit further, because it is Bundesliga, over 3.5 can go over to plus 190. So that's something I really like looking at, especially if you don't want to look at Bayern full time money line. That's not really the
Yeah.
greatest of odds. Maybe in a bigger parlay, that's something you want to toss them back into. But
Mhm.
again, the pressure's on for them. We haven't seen Bayern have like this close of a lead, and obviously it plays into account that Robert Lewandowski isn't there anymore, so there's some
Mm.
vulnerability there. So for me, I think Bayern has to come out hot here. But make no mistake, Frankfurt's an awesome team. Both teams to
Yeah.
score is obviously something you could look at as well. I don't think you could ever really go wrong in that sense.
Guy, you are on fire. You're just giving me alley oops left and right here. I love it. I really like both teams to score here.
Yeah.
I think just there's something to be said about Bayern coming out and it's their first match of the year and wanting to get off to a hot start, but you also have to take into account rust in certain aspects of that, and just the fact that this is a big match that I'm sure they're gonna get up for. But just the level of quality that you're playing against in Frankfurt, I think there's plenty of opportunity for both teams to score here. I'm not as cheeky as you are. I'm not ready to take, like a time interval of when Bayern's going to score, but I do like Bayern to score first. You can get that at minus 300, which, look, if you're just taking that by itself, there's really not much value there. But if you're throwing that in a parlay, not that I'm saying to do it, but I'm also not telling you not to. I do like Bayern to score first at minus 300. You mentioned both teams to score. I like that as well. The over 2.5. If I'm going to kind of go against the grain of what we're saying here, I am a fan of double chances. I think Frankfurt has the ability to at least get a draw here. I mean, if you want to go Bayern and draw, it's like minus 1,000. Like there's no point.
No, there's no
You want to go Frankfurt and draw. If you think there is remotely an opportunity for that to happen, or you want to bank on the draw and you're not, fully into it, you want to just kind of take off a little bit of value, you can get it at plus 245. But at that point, if you want to just take the draw in general, I don't really blame you. But that's not a terrible number to be looking at.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, it's just all what you pair it with, and Frankfurt's
Mm-hmm.
been playing very well. Again, respectable side. They won the Europa League. It's a very respectable competition to win, and they haven't really regressed this season, which has been impressive. Again, I think you got to toss out the 6-1 out the window. A lot of people are probably going to be hesitant on that, but again, that's all the way back in August. And what we've seen from Bayern as of late isn't the typical dominance that we've seen for 10 straight
Yeah.
years. So they're vulnerable, and I totally see where you're coming from with that. Just for me, it's just, I don't know, just 3 straight draws for Bayern is just mind-boggling to me, and that's just the
Yeah.
only reason why. Other than that, though, I think both teams to score just feels very safe.
And look, I'm not going to say that the Europa League isn't a respectable tournament, but you sound like you root for a team who may find themselves in the Europa League. Am I onto something here? It's not that it's not a respectable tournament.
Yeah,
Um,
I just think it's
sure.
just not that typical Bundesliga side that's going to lay it down. I know, again, the 6-1, but I just don't
Yeah.
see that. They know what's at stake. It's that high intensity type of match. You're on the road. Bayern is vulnerable to an extent. I
Mhm.
just think you could see something there, and I see why you go with the Frankfurt draw for 245.